Well, welcome to Coffee with Patti. This is my second episode, and I'm super excited because I have Cristy Spooner here. I wanted to tell you a little bit about her. I've known her for almost 30 years, and we did the same thing. We had the same type of business. We both owned document signing companies, and so we were each other's competition in a way. Never met each other, talked to each other on the phone for the first time a couple months ago, and it's like I always knew you. And I'm just so impressed by you, and you just seem like an amazing person.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited that you're my second episode.
Awesome.
And so we just wanted to get to know you a little bit. Do you want to talk a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up, if you have siblings and your parents?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was born in Ohio.
Oh,
and then grew up in Missouri. And then about when I was 13, we moved to California. And my mom was sending me postcards of all the surfer boys, the blonde surfer boys that I was going to see in California. And so we moved to La Jolla first, and actually all the kids were busting from downtown San Diego. So there weren't a lot of surfer boys. It was definitely a different crowd.
Right.
But so we kind of bounced around a lot. My mom, God bless her, she's a mover and a shaker. So we moved a lot growing up, so I definitely learned how to be the new kid on the block, which I guess helped me with sales and getting to know people. And, I can kind of be thrown into somewhere and get to know people really quickly. So it kind of built me up, built my character. So we moved a lot, and then we moved a lot around California. And then I met my husband when I was 19. So I met my husband, Rick.
Okay.
And we started a family very early. So I had my first daughter when I was 21.
21.
Actually had her October 27th, and my birthday was November 8th. So
wow.
So my 21st birthday was just had a baby.
Right. God.
And I'm sure we'll get into more later, but she was born with a rare disease. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up really quickly. So yes. Since then, we had two other daughters, Raylan, who is 19 now, and she is typical, so she does not have the disease. And then Ryan, who's 16, and she also has the rare genetic disease.
The same one?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have three girls, and we moved to Rancho Santa Margarita in 2000, and we started our notary company, Loan Closers.
In 2000?
Okay. And so then we worked together and had kids together, and, we were basically together 24/7.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately he passed away in August, which I'm sure we'll talk more about.
Last August?
Yes, August 26th, 2024. Okay. And so I've just basically been like reinventing myself, just trying to kind of pick up the pieces and kind of get on the right track with my life with the girls. Okay. So it's kind of my journey so far.
Yeah. When did you see something changing? Did you have any warning signs that anything different was going on in your life in the last year or so before everything happened?
Warning signs as far as I would say as far as like Rick, like passing away. Yeah. So, unfortunately, he did commit suicide. He took his life, and we were married we just actually had on August 1st was our 27th wedding anniversary would have been.
Wow.
And it's a lot. Like, I feel like, I kind of posted about it on social media. I've been all over social media since he passed. I think it's kind of been my support system in a sense.
Right. I get that.
It's like I've been trying to be encouraging and I already kind of had a touch of that having two kids with a rare disease as far as like taking something tragic and finding positive light in the world still. And all about perspective kind of thing. I've always had that motto since I was younger. And so having dealt with losing Rick was obviously like the biggest blow ever because I did not expect it at all. And I don't think a lot of people that are faced with suicide of their loved ones do know what I think we prevent it. You know what I mean? And I think I feel like it's a lot of people that experience it. It comes out of nowhere and you're just like, what if I wish I would have known that you were, so carrying so much trauma in your heart. And, there was a lot, the mortgage industry wasn't doing well, the pressure of raising two daughters and having a rare disease that we were dealing with and we weren't finding answers. And so I think a lot of it was just weighing on him, as a man. And I feel like he was the traditional sense of a man as far as wanting to be provider and wanting to be strong for us. And I'm such a positive person. So I think he felt like, gosh, why am I not positive like her? How come she can be positive and I can't be? And so, I tried to always like help him and tell him like, look, like, it's okay. Like, we can go get jobs, we can go, find another answer for income. And, the girls, we don't have answers, but it's okay. We can do all these other things. So I feel like I tried, but I definitely saw signs of him deteriorating, like just mentally, physically. He was an athlete all his life. And so he stopped working out.
Oh, no. Okay.
So he stopped having all of those things that were like, build up your serotonin and build up like that dopamine in your body, to like exercise and things like that. And so I started we both kind of slipped into like this unhealthy track over the last 10 years. Like pretty much I gained 10 pounds every year. Oh. And we were just miserable, and then I kind of started changing my life around and started going to the gym again and started eating healthy. And he was just like looking at me going, well, I want to do that. But I think he was so bad. Like he just could not get out of bed. Oh. And the depression just really had him down. And again, I didn't realize that was what he was going to choose to do. But I know he wasn't thinking straight. You know what I mean? He loved his girls and loved me. And, it's really, really a mystery to me. And it's something I think we all need to talk about more is how we can help with that, especially with men, because I don't feel like they feel like they can ask for help sometimes,
Can you tell us a little bit about the good years before? Because I know you had a lot of good years because you were in my competition and you did better than me a lot of the time. So I know that you had your finger on the pulse, you and your husband. You golfed and hung around a lot of the lone people. And I heard it all through the grapevine while I was sitting here in LA.
Well, that's why we moved to Orange County, because that was like the mecca of the mortgage industry. So we did have like the benefit of being able to go out to dinner. And a lot of the clients that we had became our best friends. Like we really got close with everyone and, golfing or going to like girls' weekends at the desert or, or just even, back before COVID, we could actually, because we would be both delivering cupcakes at the same time, so we could actually see the clients and walk around to their desk and, and they'd be like, well, I use Patti. Well, I use Cristy. They all had their favorites.
Did you ever go to the horse races?
I did not, but Rick did with Barry Holmes.
Yes, he was my friend. That's how we got started.
That's how we did too with Ditech.
With Ditech. 98. Exactly. I started in 98.
Yeah. We started with our other, I think we came in right after you.
Yeah.
Then, because I think we started in 2000, but then we got some of Ditech's business. I think they brought us in because they couldn't handle it. You know?
They were doing 20,000 loans a month then.
Right.
So that was, they had to bring more companies in.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we first started, I was like literally at the office with Callie and she was, she was little, but she was, she couldn't walk or talk. So she was army crawling around the office. It was just me alone. I had one escrow company. Yeah. So I was scheduling, 10 signings a day.
Similar.
Yeah. And then she's just going, and then Rick calls me, he goes, we need to do 100 signings tonight. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, we need them done tonight. And Barry had said, Rick, this is your opportunity, 100 tonight. And I was like, didn't have internet, so we were like faxing papers.
I know, that's what we were doing. He told me, I'm going to fax over 15 loans. If you screw up, I don't want to meet you.
Yeah.
And luckily we did okay. And then we were doing thousands a month for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we were too. I mean, just like hiring people like crazy, calling notaries. We'll pay you whatever.
Right. We'll pay you $300. Just go there, please, please. So we were in the same, type of situation, just different places and different people, but very, very similar.
Yeah, we kind of had parallel lives. And then it was funny how when then we meet and now we're like, oh my gosh, we just love each other. We're so fun. Like, we just connected in so many ways.
Yeah.
But we did have the heyday. I mean, we both really loved sales. It wasn't really a job because we just loved seeing our friends.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was fun. I mean, that was my most favorite part is going out and seeing clients and delivering stuff. And, but then when COVID hit, it was like you couldn't see clients. It was like, anything. Now what are we going to do?
I know.
And that was really like.
Everybody went home. Mm-hmm. So you can't, no one wanted to give out their home address.
Exactly. I know.
You can't send, 300 things out to 300 different people.
Exactly. So I mean, we have like sheds of collateral material, like shaker cups and shot glasses and pens and notepads. Right. We have all of it still.
Right. Yeah, I still have my stuff too. So it's so fun.
We'll have to do a bonfire. Here. No, just kidding.
I know we should. We should all get together.
You guys are still open. We're closed.
Well, we're open. I think interest rates go down. Maybe we can work
I know,
together.
right? Yeah,
that would be really
collaborate.
fun. So I'm just wondering, did you have a good support system when all of this happened? How did you get through this?
I'm really close with his family and my family. We're all very close. And, I think, there was alcohol involved and without throwing him under the bus, but, everyone kind of gathered around and was trying to get him to go to rehab. And I think depression mixed with alcohol and it's just like, it's just the
toughest
worst
thing ever.
Yeah. And I know that was kind of like the cyclical thing, right? The alcohol started with having fun and, he coached my daughter's softball and we drink with the softball families and we drink with the mortgage companies and it was, our life was social, you know? And then when the depression kicks in and then drinking becomes a habit, and then, and it's not fun anymore. And then it changes your personality. And that was like kind of like the downfall of everything. So all the family and friends at the end, like I kind of protected him a lot of years. I didn't really tell everyone what was going on. Obviously I knew, but I was telling him all the time, like, okay, like this isn't sustainable. Like, I see you, like you're just not doing well. And, so at the very end, though, it was very clear and all of our friends and family stepped in. We're trying to get him to go to rehab and we were all trying to help him. And so they were really like, I think felt bad for me that they didn't realize what I had been dealing with because his true colors came out and they were like, whoa, and I go, well, this is what I've been dealing with behind closed doors for 8 years.
I don't think anybody knew. I certainly didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just one of those things where, I always thought there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel like there was any sense in like, gathering the troops at that point because I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely I have a great support system. And even now, and I've had my same nanny for 23 years who's like amazing because she helps me with the girls. And obviously, everyone thinks, oh my gosh, a single mom now with 2 special needs kids and a 19-year-old.
I was thinking about that.
It's
like,
a lot.
How did you get through that?
Yeah, it's a lot. But luckily, like I said, my nanny is just amazing and she's, just a godsend to me. So
they can be our best friends sometimes.
Right.
So if you had one thing that you would tell your younger self, what would that be, knowing what you know now?
I think just to probably relax a little bit. I'm very much like want to be I'm just all about growth for myself and like want to be better all the time. And, and just to kind of like maybe give myself a little pat on the back here and there instead of always like, what can I do more? I want to do more. I want to do more. And then, before I know it, my plate's like just overflowing with things.
Oh, God.
So I think probably just I would, tell my younger self to tell my adult self, like it's,
relax.
You can't control everything.
Right.
Life is going to happen.
Not even close.
Yeah, life's going to happen no matter what you do. So
I totally get that. Have you ever felt his spirit? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I've never spoke to a medium or anything like that before. I am very spiritual. I'm a Christian. I do pray and I do take things with a grain of salt. So I actually just spoke to a medium for the first time and she, it was very different. It was different. And, and I know some people think, well, you can't believe in God in a medium, but like, people have their different beliefs, but I feel like, like I said, it's to each their own. And so I met with her and she said, there's a gentleman here that has a very smart, alecky personality, and which he does, and he's like, and he really wants to talk to you. Oh. And so it's interesting because I haven't really felt his spirit, and I've been wondering because my grandma passed. I was very close with my grandma, and I feel her all the time. And I was wondering with Rick, like, and it was kind of a question, like I was raised, if you commit suicide, you go to hell.
Right.
I mean, I was, and so. It was scary. Like I kept saying, gosh, like, did he go to heaven? It was a kind of a scary concept. And so then I kept kind of analyzing, like talking to him kind of like, do I feel his spirit and kind of waiting for that to happen like I do with my grandma. And, but then when I talked to the medium, it was interesting because he had a lot to say according to her. And it was like a lot of stuff that only he would know.
Right.
And it was a majority of like that he's proud of me and that he made a rash decision and that he didn't really know what he was doing and that he felt like our lives would be better without him. Oh. And that he kind of left me with a mess, which he did. Just
so he apologized for leaving you with the mess?
Yeah, there wasn't really an apology because I don't think, like, according to her, like, they don't really have negative emotions. Like, there wasn't any regret or negativity. It was more of like, just kind of clarity of like, I didn't really see how bad it was. Like he said, I really was hard on her. And she never made me feel bad about myself, though. Like that she always was there for me, but I didn't realize how bad it was.
Yeah, he couldn't in his situation.
Yeah. So it was interesting, and I think it was neat. It was kind of like closure in a sense, or maybe like a little validation, because I already knew that. I was never upset with him. I never thought like, how could you do this to me? Because I knew he was just struggling. And I know how much he loved his girls, and I know that he wasn't thinking,
Right.
Because it was actually my 19-year-old, the other two won't go to college. They're in special ed. So Raylan, our 19-year-old, is the only child that we have out of our three that's going to have like a typical lifestyle, so to speak. So it was our first day of college that it happened.
No way.
Yeah. And she was at Long Beach State.
No.
And her classes were night classes. And so it happened. I got the call at 5:30 in the evening that the gardeners unfortunately had found him.
You weren't home?
It was at our desert. So we had a house in La Quinta, like a family vacation home.
Okay.
And so he was there by himself, and we were trying to get him to go to rehab, and he was out there just drinking himself, to death. And then pretty much, but when I had to drive to Long Beach to tell Ray, she saw me in the parking lot, like she knew that, because she knew how bad he was. So, but it was like that to me right there. I knew he wasn't thinking straight. Like he would never do that. He didn't plan it.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not thinking straight at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as far as like feeling his spirit, I think that was like the first time I really like felt it through a medium.
Right.
In a sense.
No,
you know what I mean?
hear you. I went when I had two sisters pass away.
Okay.
I went to a medium both times, and it helped me.
Yeah,
a lot.
right?
Yeah. So I definitely get that. So how are your daughters doing with all of this?
Well, it's funny because the medium had told me, like, our oldest daughter, Callie, she's 26. She doesn't have very good communication. She's very emotional. She's very delayed. Like, she can't walk. She can't really talk. She says things like eat or a bathroom, but she doesn't like speak like, I would like a cheeseburger. Like, she can't really do that.
She can't do that. Okay.
But she hasn't even really been sad about Rick, and she hasn't asked him about him, like, where's daddy or anything.
No.
And she was really close with him. And the medium said, oh yeah, they have a great relationship. Like,
they're communicating
they talk all
on
the
their
time.
own level.
Yeah, I guess she's very open, because I guess a lot of times they say that, like, with disabilities that you're very open.
Right.
And so I asked her after the medium. I was like, so Callie, where's daddy? And she's like,
what's he doing right now?
She's like, he's in heaven. She's like, he's in heaven.
Yeah.
And but so
That's so sweet.
she's been great with it. That was like my first thought of, oh my gosh, how are the girls going to handle it? And my youngest she's a 16-year-old that also has the rare disease. She's more advanced, so she can talk. She'll have a job. She is in special ed, but she's like has a cell phone. She texts people all the time, so she's more advanced. So she says, Mom, why doesn't daddy have a cell phone in heaven? And I said, well, you can't take your cell phone to heaven. She goes, well, when I go to heaven, I'm going to sneak my cell phone and daddy's cell phone to heaven.
All right.
And I'm going to give daddy his cell phone so he can call you. And then she goes, well, wait, are you going to be still here when I go to heaven? And I said, well, I hope not. So she was more like analyzing it. Yeah, like confused as to why we still can't talk to him.
Right.
But now she's just accepted it and moved on with her life, in her own like special need world of like, okay, And Raylan's like really the one that's, it's weird because Rick was very codependent. I was like the rule. I held everything together for a long time, and he really depended on me for everything. So I didn't do a lot with the kids alone. Like, I didn't really have the freedom or time to go spend time with my 19-year-old by myself. So now it's like we're the adults of the house. You know what I mean? And she's like taking on the role of like the mom. Like, she's like telling me, like, Mom, okay, like, you're not going to date people, right? Like, you're not going to do this, right? Like, so I'm like, Ray, calm down, but it's cute. Like, she's like, I want you to be smart, Mom. And like, she's worried. But that's kind of why I did quit drinking last October.
Yeah, I noticed your Instagram post.
Yeah, so I thought that was important to kind of, to have the lifestyle change completely for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that I feel like was a good thing between me and my 19 with Raylan, is like kind of like showing her that, I am going to be smart, and I want to have stability for them, and, and show loyalty as far as like, I don't need to go have a drink or make or spark that trigger in my family. You know what I mean? It's not worth it.
No.
And do I miss a margarita here and there? Of course. And I don't think I necessarily had a problem, but I think it's just the idea of it right now. You know, maybe in the future.
I totally get that. I totally get that.
So, but yeah, we're spending a lot of time together, and she's had a hard time, I think, like with dreams. You know, she sees him a lot in her dreams.
Oh, well, that's good, because then he's there.
Yeah. But I think it's like scary dreams.
Oh, it's scary.
More nervous stuff.
Okay.
But, you know, I think it's getting better over time. Like, it's almost been a year next month. So I think over time we're just like getting better and better.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
Definitely
I appreciate that.
So what have you learned about yourself since all of this happened?
I learned, like, I feel like I knew I was resilient before because of the girls, you know, just because once we found out they had a rare disease, I started a foundation. You know, we've been kind of being not a mentor, but I've talked to a lot of different special needs moms about, you know, again, being positive in a world that can be dark and be in the unknown. And I think that I've learned that that's kind of my calling in a sense, you know what I mean? And I feel like I really want to be able to help women in the future with even suicide or with alcoholism or with, you know, I've learned that that's kind of my thing. And it really fills my cup to kind of inspire other people. And so I hope that, you know, that's why I love this opportunity. And I hope there's other opportunities in the future where I can share my story and kind of show people that, you know, it is about perspective, and it is about like the choice you have to make for your environment and your mental capacity, your mental state. You know what I mean? And if you don't have control over it, then to ask for help, because it's sometimes people don't have control over their mental state. You know, but you got to be self-aware.
Definitely.
And I definitely learned that I'm very self-aware and I'm resilient, and that, you know, I'm driven, I guess. But that also takes into the little child going, calm down.
Hey,
it's the greatest.
You're inspiring me, because you're getting up at like 4 or whatever every day and going to the gym, and, you know, like there's no body fat. I'm like, come on. You're doing great.
Well, thank you. It's funny because I was just telling my mother-in-law today, working out has become like, I can control it. You know what I mean? So like I'm at the gym and it's like I can control how many reps I do. I can control what I'm doing in the gym, but like then I go back into the uncontrollable world, and it's like I just want to go back to like how many reps am I going to do?
I know. I get that. That's a lot easier than the real world sometimes. What would you like people to understand about how to deal with somebody that you love that's in having mental illness or addiction?
I would say that, you know, it's a fine line between like calling somebody out, you know, and, you know, throwing them under the bus or like telling other people. But I would say that you really have to be careful how much you hide. You know, I feel like I really could have maybe like, you know, I protected him so much because I didn't want his ego to be like disrupted. I didn't want people to know like his struggles. But at the same time, I feel like maybe I could have asked for help earlier and like just said, you know what, you have no choice. Like you need help. You know what I mean? But it's also hard too because he didn't want help and he didn't admit he had a problem. And you know, and that's so it's one of those things where you almost have to step outside of the box of like, okay, I'm not trying to control you or tell you how you are, but I'm seeing the signs and somebody needs to back me up here. You know what I mean? And you definitely need professional help. Like it's, you know, and if your loved one won't get that, then it's like you really just have to push for it and not be scared to, you know, a life is more important than an ego.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what would you say to somebody going through something similar to what you're going through right now? Because I have a feeling you'll help a lot of people with this podcast.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I would say that, like I said, self-reflection is a big deal. You know, to look at yourself in the mirror and think, okay, what are my daily habits that are allowing me to have a healthy mind frame? You know, and what am I doing that's not working? You know, and are there things that are in my life that are bringing me down because I'm already faced with so many things, you know, that issues that I'm dealing with? You really have to have like a naked mind almost, like you know, and really support yourself physically and mentally. Talk to, you know, whether it's like go to a group session or talk to a therapist. Yeah. I mean, whatever works for you, but that's where the self-awareness comes in. Right. Like because not everyone's formula is the same.
Right.
But you have to find your formula. You know what I mean? You can't just sit back and think, okay, well, it's all going to go away, because it doesn't. Right. You know, and whatever it is, it's going to help you mentally. You know, for me, it was meditation, yoga, you know, going to the gym, like, you know, changing my eating habits. I mean, all of that is what my formula was. And then talking about what I'm going through. Not everyone wants to do that, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But I think that for me helps me, is to get through it. But I think just self-awareness is the biggest thing, and to be able to take time to get to know yourself and just figure out what works for you, but just know you have to be proactive.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. So if you wanted to leave with one message today, what would that be? Everyone has a saying or some kind of quote or something that has helped them.
It's funny because I just watched your intro and I was talking to my friend yesterday and I said, it's all about perspective. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know Patty's going to ask me that. And it is, I feel like that's been my entire life has been about what my perspective is. You know what I mean? It's like, you can look at, for instance, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I drive to LA in traffic. And I could be like, oh my God, I got to drive to LA in traffic. Instead of I'm so excited I'm so excited for this opportunity to go. But it's like every little tiny thing that you come across in your day. You know what I mean? It's like when you think something negative, if you change it to a positive in your mind, it really helps, and that's where I was saying the meditation and yoga for me helps because that kind of gives you a minute. I'll sit in the middle of the gym and just be look like a dork. And I'm this, going internally and, but it's just that taking that minute to just remind yourself about perspective and to be able to have a positive perspective on things. And, and you can be a Debbie Downer, but that's your choice. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's kind of,
but life's still going to happen. So you might as well make it positive.
I agree. Well, you're a beautiful person.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm so happy you're here. It was so exciting for me to think about, seeing you after all these years.
Yes.
And we have so many similarities.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many things that you said. We're right on the same track.
Yeah.
So I'd like to end. Oh, I want to give you a key.
Okay, cool.
Pick one.
Okay.
Close your eyes. That's what I always tell people.
Let's see.
Let's see what you get.
Let's see. Oh, thank you.
What'd you get?
I love it. I got thank you.
You got thank you. Okay. That's a good one.
I do like it.
All right.
I like it. Thank you.
That's
thank
great.
You.
You did great with your sparkly eyes.
That. Thank you.
So I think I always want to end my podcast with, you really are loved just as you are, more than you know. And I think that everybody needs to know that, but I think especially you. You're a wonderful person. And thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you. That was very special. Thank you.